Mythics, how are we all? Yes, it is another Saturday. I'm back. This time it is personal. No, it's all about Gen Con today. Most of it will be about Gen Con today. My name is Ken Boyter and I co-created I'm all over the place, not done this for 4 weeks, The Bottled Imp with Julian. And this is The Bottled Imp from said Bottled Imp. Good morning, Martha. We have a YouTube channel, The Bottled Imp. Go check it out. It's got over 450 episodes. 450 episodes of fancy goodness. Fancy board game reviews, fancy film reviews, and fancy book reviews. Plus, as well as my Edra Tales Twitch channel, I also have an Edra Tales YouTube channel. So if you do miss any of these live streams, you can check them all out over on the YouTube side of things. Good morning, Jonathan. How are you? Good to have you back. Oh, thank you very much. Yes, that's very kind of you. Good morning, Sally. Yes, it's been a while, and I have had a fight with a lawnmower and lost. But yes, no, it has been a while. It's been, what, 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks since I did the last live stream. Life got crazy. The gang's back together, exactly. We're putting the band back together. I do feel like when I wear this shirt, I should be wearing a necklace as well. It feels like a bit of a bare-chested. Yes, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's been a crazy 3 weeks for me, 4 weeks for me, because I have gone to Gen Con, as most of you that follow the Edra Tales Facebook group will know, and also if you're friends with me on my Facebook account, you'll know that as well. And then I did Gen Con, and then I had a day at home. And then Sally and I went off to visit my brother Colin and his fiancée Suzanne for 3 days, 4 days, up in York, which was beautiful. And then I think I had a day at home, maybe 2, might have just been a day. And then Sally and I went off to Baconsthorpe for a week. So it's been non-stop, but in different ways. So, yeah, God, there's me having to talk at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Hopefully you've had a lovely 3 weeks as well. It's the summer. People have different habits over the summer. You know, they go away on holiday. Maybe they don't work as much. Maybe they got their kids. Have to look after their kids because it's summer holidays. Who knows? But yes, so for some reason I've got this cold. Not this cold, this little cough this morning. Jonathan, have you been on adventure too, haven't you? Yes. Did you go on an adventure? And is my milk off? Yep, the milk is off. It's finally off. That's a shame. I do need to go out and get some supplies. Jonathan went to Slovenia. Did I not see any? Did you post anything up about that? And Sally, how do you know that? Is that because you're a woman and you ask these types of stuff, whereas we just talk about game books? You went to Slovenia. How was Slovenia? That sounds lovely. Where is Slovenia? Is that? I posted pictures of Castle Bled, except I missed all of those. Facebook didn't give me them. I didn't get any of those. What's happened with that? Facebook. Just picture, I just got adverts of, I don't know, toilet roll. Beautiful. It's in the Balkans. Oh, right in the Balkans. Slovenia. Yes. It feels like it should be in the Balkans. I think it was when you were in the US. Oh, right. So I was in the US. I actually didn't take my phone. I went sans phone. Welcome home, Ken. Thank you, Lee Rin. Thank you for joining us. Good to hear from you. And Gruckle is much sober than usual. Yeah, it's because he's not allowed any... When I'm not here, he can't get into the fridge to get the beer. That's what it is. Right, so you had a lovely time. Was that a bit of research for writing or just purely a holiday? Because it feels like it's slight research. I might be wrong on that. Yes, so as you all know, I did go to Gen Con. And why did I go to Gen Con? Because we were promoting and demoing the brand new board game, well, it's a tile-laying game, Guildlands, from Outset Media. So they very kindly flew myself and the co-creator, Kedrick, from the UK over to Canada first. Jonathan's put purely a holiday, but it did give me lots of ideas, particularly in the castle in a cave. Oh, lovely. Exactly. You go to a place like that, you can't help but have ideas for stuff like that. Why so early in the morning? So it's 10 AM UK time, I hope it is anyway, otherwise I'm all over the place. Yeah, it's 10 AM UK time, which is the normal time that we do these, Martha. But yes, it's still pretty early, I guess. If you're not an early riser, this is quite early. And can I just thank Redwater221 for following the channel. We've got 91 followers, which is fantastic. Considering I don't really advertise this at all, I don't promote this in any groups, I think that's pretty good. Martha's exhausted after a bad night of sleep. Oh, sorry to hear that, Martha. Sorry to hear that. Is that the heat? It is still pretty hot in the UK. Yeah, so we went to Gen Con and it was amazing. It was imagine UK games but much bigger and American. Lee Rin saw Superman second time yesterday. Just like the first time, it is a warm-hearted breath of fresh air that remembers superhero stories are meant to be inspiring and idealistic. That's what I like to hear, Lee Rin. Superhero stories, absolutely, they're meant to be uplifting, inspiring. As a kid, you know, because primarily you get into them as a kid, you want those stories of hope, you want those stories that the good guys always win and women always win, and that's what I guess I haven't really bought into the Marvel DC universe. I never saw any of those apart from one or two, Iron Man and the first Captain America. It just never really appealed to me. But I have, you know, obviously kept an eye on the fact that it has divided people for the last sort of, I don't know, 10, 15 films. That they've lost the essence of what a superhero film is. Yes, Sally saw Superman as well. So I guess superheroes have never, they did interest me when I was a kid. I was actually part of Superman's Help Stamp Out Nick O'Teen campaign. I remember you could write off for a certificate and little badge, and oh how I did. And there was a character called Nick O'Teen. So obviously it was an anti-smoking campaign. But yeah, so I did get into superheroes for a little bit, but then it's not something I've ever really gone back to as an adult. I don't know why, it just never massively appealed to me. But when you think about it, having superpowers is just like having magic in the fantasy realm. But there's something different. I can't quite explain it. So yes, so Outset Media and Chivo Games, they invited myself and Kedrick Winks, there's his name, to Gen Con. But before we went to Gen Con, we were actually invited over to Canada. We went to Canada for 3 days because we went to Brampton, which is near Toronto, and that's where their headquarters are. And so we saw the offices where all the decisions are made and everything runs. And also they have a massive warehouse, and they have a little bit of a production line making games as well, because apparently about 40% of the games that they make, or they sell anyway, that they don't distribute is made in Canada, which I think is quite extraordinary, you know, these days. Obviously something like Guildlands, which is a more complex game because you've got coins, you've got, well no, the punch hole they can do, but you've got tokens and custom meeples, things like that. That becomes more complicated, so it is more cost effective to get everything printed in China. And also they are a distributor as well of other games. So things like Feed the Kraken. Oh, look at that. Feed the Kraken. See, look, the Kraken awoke there. Move the camera. Feed the Kraken. They were giving out these really cool badges. Feed the Kraken, sailor's favourite deduction game. They do, what else are they doing? 5 Minute Hero, I think. No, 5 Minute Dungeon. And one, can't remember now, I get those mixed up. There's something about Hero. So they do other big games now, but they haven't made those from scratch. Guildlands is their first game that they've made them from scratch, that they've actually contributed to. Redwater 221, One Hit Wonders. That's it. Sorry. Have I got a feeling that you're involved with One Hit Wonders? One Hit Heroes, I should say. I can't even get it right when I read it. Thank you for following the channel, by the way, and welcome to Redwater. Everybody say hello to Redwater. You're more than welcome. Yes, so I'm just explaining about Gen Con and how Outset Media, Dave, who owns the whole company, very, very graciously invited Kedrick and I over to demo the game, promote the game at Gen Con. And also we went to the headquarters of Outset Media, which is really cool. Ryan, you're Ryan. Hello, Ryan. How are you? I don't need to keep you up to speed. You were all there. So Ryan was at Gen Con as well. Ryan demoed at Gen Con as well. So he demoed a number of games, didn't you? That Outset do, and with their head office, they've got X amount of offices. They've got this huge warehouse where they keep all the stock, and also they've got, as I say, a little production line where they put some of their games together. And so we looked around that, and that was really cool. And it's a big advantage. Yeah, Ryan demoed 9 different games. 9 different games. That is impressive. That is very impressive. I only demoed 3 different games, but I guess I had a slightly different vested interest. I demoed the Crooked Crown, Guildlands, and also Kedrick's Shadow Ninjas. So, yeah, what was really interesting about their setup is because they've got this massive warehouse, they can then be a distributor for other companies. So it makes that another revenue stream that the company can have, as opposed to just making their own games. So that was really cool, and the warehouse is massive. So they don't have to pay for storage. So any of their games they just keep in their own warehouse. They don't have to pay another warehouse to store it. So that means they can have more profit. Do you work for Outset, Ryan? Not quite. I think you volunteered, but I'll let Ryan let Ryan answer. Shouldn't answer for people, Ken. Don't answer for people. He's telling me off. Grocklesnook's telling me off. So yeah, so Guildlands was fantastic. The hotel that I stayed in Brampton, in Toronto, had a corner bath, a whirlpool corner bath, which I actually have here in the dungeon as well. But it was amazing. I walked into the hotel room, and there was a big double bed, and then right next to it, brick. You know, it was properly, there, open plan, no shower curtain, nothing, no wall or anything. It wasn't a separate room. It was just a corner bath in the corner. Really cool. I thought it was amazing. So, as you can imagine, after a long day of walking around sightseeing and seeing the offices and the warehouse, I'd run myself a bubble bath spa, basically, hot tub, and watch Family Guy on the hotel TV. Yes, Ryan's volunteer, and it was fantastic. Yeah, so that was great. So we stayed in Canada for a couple of days. And we went up to the CN Tower, which is a huge tower. You probably recognise it. It's got that sort of, bulge at the top of the tower. That sounded wrong, didn't it? We went up there. I took lots of pictures. I also got told off, which was lovely, because I actually leant on the glass. Don't lean on the glass. Don't lean on the glass. And I said to the guy, and the guy told me off, which is fair enough, and I said, oh yeah, sorry, I just noticed the sign. And he went, yeah, that's why I'm here, to tell you off. Don't look at the sign. I was like, oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't want to put you out of work. In fact, I've helped you by, you can actually do your job by telling someone not to lean on the glass. So, anyway, so obviously, wherever I go, I leave a destruction and disaster. So that was fun. We just walked around. We didn't have a lot of time for sightseeing. because the main reason, as apart from looking around the actual offices and the warehouse, was the launch party of Guildlands. Yay! I don't know why my voice is like this. The launch party of Guildlands, which was fantastic. They've done such a good job. It was up in their showroom where they've got all... It's like a shop, you know, they've decked it out like a shop with all the games on shelves. So when Dave or anyone wants to do business, they presumably take them up there and they can show them the games. And they've got all these playing tables. They've got a conference room as well, which is, you know, it's a fairly big conference room. And they decked out the conference room in all sort of medieval stuff, which was fantastic. So there was... I've put photos up on the Edra Scrolls Facebook group. But they had, like, you know, medieval doors. It was all drapes. It was all very done brilliantly, all fabric. And then you go in there, you open the doors, and they had all the drapes of, like, medieval scenes, you know, like it was a library. It was meant to be like an arcane, hidden... magical library, and they had all the tables out, and then they had just a wall of Guildlands. It was amazing, just a wall of Guildlands. So to see all those copies just in one place was absolutely fantastic. So many people were there. There was probably about 30 to 40 people. I don't know, Ryan, you were there, weren't you? I'm pretty sure you were there. Forgive me if you weren't, but I'm pretty sure you were there. Were you there? Were you there at the launch? And yeah, there's about 30 to 40 people, I think. Barbecue, you know, lovely food, and yeah, and the guy George, who does work for Outset Media, he had dressed up as some sort of wizardy robed person and sort of opened the doors, and smoke had come out. He got a smoke machine because apparently he was a DJ as well, and you know, he came out and said, "Welcome, you know, travellers," and did this sort of speech in keeping, in theme. That was really cool. And then Derek, who's one of the sales guys, he was dressed up as a knight, and he kind of helped him with the opening speech. And then he invited Dave to have a, you know, to say a few words. And that was really cool. They did this big launch, because it was their first game. First, I guess, big box game. First sort of big game like this that they had created from scratch. When I say they had created, myself and Kedrick had, you know, pitched it to them, and then they brought it to the shelves, if you like, to production themselves, without it being a distributed game that someone else, you know, they're just taking on. Lyrian put the Needle Skyline. Yes, that's the one. You mean the one made famous by Tom Hanks, Sleeps in Seattle? Yes, possibly, although it wasn't in Seattle. So it's that sort of shape. It goes up like that, then there's a bulge like a big donut, and then there's another little point at the top, and that's the observation area where you can just walk round. Have I seen Sleepers in Seattle? But yeah, but it was in Brampton. I know, it's in Toronto. That was actually in Toronto. So that was cool. So yeah, so the launch party was amazing. There was retailers were there. There was a board game cafe. There was a couple of board game cafes, one of which was Snakes and Lattes, who I knew about thanks to watching the Dice Tower all those years ago. So it's like, oh, cool, it's the guys from Snakes and Latte. And then there were reviewers, a few reviewers as well. Mo was there from, what's his channel called? My memory's terrible. I've got it written down. I think that was On the Tabletop. I think Mo's from On the Tabletop. I might have got that wrong. So yeah, there was some reviewers there. There was retail. There was board game cafes, and there were just friends and guests of you know, staff from Outset Media. So it was really, really cool. And also, I ought to mention Paul, Paul from Cheatwell and Outset Media. He works in the UK. In fact, he lives just 20 minutes up the road from me, which is very handy. He is the guy that commissioned Guildlands. He does a lot of the commissioning of the games. He also oversees the production of each game. So, you know, I know Paul really well because we worked on the Crooked Crown together, me and Kedrick, and also Outset Media and Paul have commissioned, you know, have taken on about 4 other of Kedrick's games as well. So, you know, we've got a really good working relationship now. And obviously you get to know people a bit more when you travel together. And Paul just wanted to get us drunk. Paul had this, has this lounge, like the flight lounge that you can go into, and he could take one person in each time. And Charlie, his son, who's 20, doesn't really drink, so he said, right, I'll take either Kedrick or Ken. So we took it in turns because we had a number of flights. And yeah, and there's just free booze and there's free food, and it's amazing. So, you know, Prosecco, wine, beer, whiskey, it's all there. I had about 2 Proseccos and 4 beers in about half an hour or 45 minutes at one point. So yeah, so that was really cool. So it was such a brilliant experience. So that's just the Toronto bit. So the launch party was a massive success. People were given a copy of the game. You know, Kedrick and I was signing it, and a few people wanted their photo with us, which was, you know, our rock star moment, which was lovely. So it was brilliant. And then we flew from Toronto to Chicago, then changed from Chicago to Indianapolis, where the Gen Con is. Now, Gen Con, those of you that don't know, it's a massive games convention. Think UK games, but maybe double that. It was huge. It was spread out over, you know, like, I don't know, 6 halls maybe. It was massive. There was so many booths. So there was there was 2 main bits. There was one long hall, which I guess is made up into several different halls. You know, they got a divider, but this was one massive hall. And that was where all the demoing was taking place, all the scheduled events, or a lot of them anyway. And then you had another room, which was just, you know, connected by a big area, but you could walk back and forth. And that was where all the retailers were. You know, actually, they weren't necessarily having demo tables and putting on events, but, you know, they could show you the game, and there were probably some people demoing on their stand. But that was like the main retail area. Toronto, says Leroy. My brother-in-law hails from there. Really should visit there one day. Yeah, it's a nice place. It's very, I hate to say it, very American, and America's very like Canada. Lots of straight roads. Obviously, they just built a grid system, huge buildings. But what's really nice with Toronto is it had a mixture of old style buildings as well, and I really love those. Coming from England, I prefer old buildings basically. So it had a mixture of those old stone buildings in amongst, you know, more modern skyscrapers. So, you know, from that point of view, it was quite interesting. It wasn't all just skyscrapers that all might potentially look the same. There was a mixture of buildings. So yeah, it was a nice place. And then also, yeah, so what was I going to say? Yes, so we were in the demo area, and we had a massive, well, as Ryan knows, we have a massive demoing area. We had 6 rows of tables of about 5 tables long. So that was a huge area. There was 20-odd volunteers and people working at Outset. There was myself, there was Kedrick, and also there was Michael, he co-designed Feed the Kraken. So there was 2 big tables at the end to Feed the Kraken. So that was a real lot of fun, demoing the game. And the way they do it there at Gen Con is they have scheduled events. So as a publisher, you then put to Gen Con, this is your schedule of events. And so, you know, they were rotating the games. So and every time we did Guildlands, it was a 2-hour slot, because the game takes about an hour, 40 minutes to an hour. So you don't really want to rush people. So it was a 2-hour slot, and it meant that we could explain the game properly, how to play it, and also, you know, when they did buy a copy, most of them did when they played it, which was really lovely. You know, they would come back and some of them wanted selfies with us, and we would sign the box and have a nice little chat with them. So that was really cool. So it was just insane, and it was just non-stop. And also, and they also charge people to play the demos, because if you sign up for things, they say if you don't charge, people they're not going to turn up, and potentially other people might want it to play. So you can't really just walk past and go, oh, can I try that, like UK games. You have to sign up. Now, from a personal point of view, I would prefer just to walk around and go, oh, can I play that? But I could understand why they've done stuff like that, I guess, because it's more scheduled. People know how many people are going to be playing your game. So I guess from that point of view, and also Gen Con use it to see how popular your stand was and whether or not you warrant that much space. They're a bit strict like that. So hopefully, you know, Outset Media did enough demoing, and the events were, all the Guildlands was pretty much sold out. Shadow Ninja was sold out. Crooked Crown, we only did 3 scheduled events. 1, nobody turned up, it hadn't sold, and 2, there was about 3 people. And it's just funny because there's so many games out there that how do you grab the attention? And I do think when you've got a big box like that, that's going to get more attention than just a little box. I think I'm going to go back to sleep. No worries, Martha. No worries. You sleep well. Yes. Drift off. I do have that effect on most people. So yeah, so in essence, it's like UK games, but it's much bigger, and of course it's full of Americans. But it is, you know, and there are other nationalities. I'm only joking. But it's just as good. It's just as good. There was 500 new games launched at Gen Con. So that's just Gen Con alone, 500 games. So forget UK Games Expo, forget Essen. Just Gen, that's 500 games. So it's a busy, crowded marketplace now. You know, I think there's something like 2,000 to 3,000 games launched a year. So how do you actually, you know, how do you actually stand out from the crowd? How do you get your game noticed? Thank you, Meat Freak 88, for following. If you are watching, I thank you for watching and welcome. We're just talking about Gen Con and the launch of my new game, Guildlands, that I co-designed with Kedrick Winks. It's a tile-laying game. Lay your tiles, rebuild the city. It's an asymmetrical tile-laying game. Ken's voice does that to me too much. I know, it is true. Sally... And I went to visit my brother last week, and he started drifting off when I was talking to him. Just put people to sleep. I have to stay awake during the day. Maybe I can sleep during the night. Yes, that's a good point. Lee Reen has put, even though the scene where Clark saves a helpless little squirrel at supersonic speed from being stomped on by a rampaging monster was awesome, it was slightly disheartening that the director had to fight the studios and test audience to be kept in the film, whereas this scene, as the heroic kindness would have lauded, been before the age of 90s grunge rock cynicism. Yes, that is a very good point. That is very good. I think I've only watched Superman 1, the 1977 one. I think I watched it at the cinema, or if it wasn't the cinema, it's certainly video very shortly after, or about a year after. But I'm pretty sure I saw it at the cinema. I don't recall watching number 2 or 3. I might have watched number 2 but forgotten it. So I do want to sit down and watch Superman 1, 2 and 3. The 70s, early 80s versions. So hopefully Outset have done enough so they warrant their stand again next year. And it would be cool if they could do a big launch of a game each year, because then I think that adds a little bit more kudos to it. And it gives people a reason to come to your stand if you've got something new each year. What was really cool, you must have seen Superman 6, the best one. I think I have. That's the one with the 3 aliens that come in the dark, isn't it? Yeah. Terrence Stamp, I believe, is the main baddie in that. Is it Zoran? I think I have, but I've only seen it once, so I can't really remember it. What I was going to say is, what was really cool is that the hotel, we were right next to the venue, and the hotels kind of connect to the conference centre. So there's just a skywalk that we just walked across every morning. So we didn't actually go out for like 4 days. Oh no, we did in the evening. So then, what was really cool was on the Thursday we helped set up, or was it the Wednesday? I can't remember now. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, so it's a 4-day event. So on the Wednesday we helped set up, and then on the Thursday morning I was walking in about, I don't know, 8:30, something like that. And no, it must have been earlier than that, 7:30, because we had to get there for 8 o'clock. We were demoing from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. What sort of madness is that? It was all right. It was all right. And Christopher Reeves even took the time to save a kitten from a tree. Yes, after stopping a band of bank robbers, 97%. Everyone loved that. Yeah, I see. I think I've only ever seen that once. It does sound cool. I do want to watch them again because that's part of my childhood. Lehman's put it, but trust me on this. When you have the chance to watch Superman 25 in spirit and hopefulness, it is the equal of the 1978 original. Well, that's good to hear. That they captured the spirit of it, because I think we do need films that still have that inspiration and that have, hope, especially in superhero films. So what was really cool, so when I walked from the sky to the venue, Outset Media had paid to have one of the glass cabinets so they can display their games. And there was D&D next to them, and there was... Oh, yeah, it was a really cool... It was this side, actually. D&D next to them. It's a really cool display of all D&D stuff. There was other games, obviously, but their Outset Media one had different shelves, and they had Feed the Kraken, and they had Shadow Ninjas, but they also had Guildlands, obviously, because that was their big launch title. And what was really funny was I heard there was 2 or 3 people on that first day looking at it going, oh, yeah, I kind of heard about this, getting Guildlands. It looks pretty cool. And look, and it's like, hey, look, I love Tile, and I could hear them commenting. And I thought, I know, I'm just going to walk up to them and just listen to see what they say. And then I sort of asked them a few questions. I said, oh, how did you find out, how did you hear of Guildlands? They went, I can't remember what they said. They might have just said, oh, we walked past here and saw it. Or they might have said BGG, because by then we'd put a lot on stuff of Board Game Geek, that website. And so... Yeah, and so it was really funny. So I was just asking them sort of questions. I can't remember what I asked them now, but it's, do you like tile-laying games? And then I said, well, you've just met one of the designers of the game. And they went, what? And I went, yeah, that's me, I'm Ken. And I kind of showed them my badge, my lanyard. In fact, I meant to show you guys. I don't know where that is now. Oh, it might be here. It might be here. I've got it here. Yeah, so I showed them my lanyard. And they saw my name and looked at the box cover and went, oh yeah, and they went, oh my god, that's really cool. And so that was just really nice. So we chatted a little bit about games and that stuff like that, and about how we came up with the date. There it is, Gen Con 4-day, and it is Rush of Ichor. So that was really cool. And then they said, oh, actually, could we have a selfie? I was like, yeah, okay. So I felt like a rock star. And then, and so it's just little moments like that really make it. And what was really nice is that we got loads of great feedback. So when we were demoing Guildlands, we got loads of great feedback from people that played it. So normally we had like a 5 or a 6 player game because the events were all sold out. And most groups bought at least one copy, because obviously they didn't necessarily all know each other, but there was at least one sale, I think, per demo, if not 2. So it was, we did well. So Guildlands was the #1 selling game that Outset did at Gen Con. And bearing in mind, they had about 20 titles out and about, because they also had a retail area as well. So we did really well. It was great. Grocklesnook's Winged Uncle is on the card. Either that or it's a red dragon breathing acid. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I see why you think that. Yeah, it is actually a dragon, but I don't know what the green bit is. You're right. I don't know what that is. It a beard? It's like, or is he being sick? I don't know. Hadn't really noticed that before. Yeah. So there we go. So it was great. We've got lots of good feedback, and we've got now over 30 ratings on BGG, Board Game Geek, which is the place for board games. And it's 33 ratings now, 17 comments, most of which are positive, as in all the comments are positive, apart from one actually that said, why do all Euro games have to be asymmetric scoring? And it's like, well, clearly that's not the game for you then, isn't it? So I could say, why are all murder mystery games about murder? Well, because that's the nature of them. I saw the sales report on Facebook. Oh, you did? Yes. Congratulations on your consecutive victory streak. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, no, it was really cool. So the comments have been nice. The ratings, we've got an average of 8.3. It was 8.4, but someone put a 6 in a couple of days ago. So 8.3 on BGG, and that's a good score. I think if you're in the 8s, you're doing really well. What you want is 7 and above. You don't really want to go below 7. 6 is probably all right, but if you're going to buy a game and you go by the ratings, you probably will only buy games if they're 7 and above, I think. I don't really know, but I think that's what a lot of people would do. So to have 8.3 is fantastic. And for those of you that do watch board game YouTubers, Tom Vassell from the Dice Tower, which is one of the biggest YouTube review video board game reviewers, Tom Vassell put his rating in, so he's played it now because he did get sent a copy after UK Games, and he gave it an 8. He gave it an 8, so that is very high praise, because obviously Tom has played thousands of games in the last 20 years. So to get a rating of 8 is brilliant. Hopefully they'll do a review. We gave them a review copy. Well, we sent that out to them after UK Games. I actually went along to the Dice Tower stand because they have a stand there. And I kind of know Tom because with the Bottled Imp, we put some videos on. In fact, I've got Tom's mobile number, so does that count? So yeah, I've chatted to Tom because we put videos of our board game reviews onto his channel, and so yeah, that was so it's nice seeing him again. I'd interviewed him a couple of times when he came over to UK Games, so that was fun. And I've been also on a panel with him as well, talking about games. So I think he remembered me because it's been a while since I've kind of had any interactive. He sort of remembered me. Jason Levine was there. He was another guy from the Dice Tower, and I didn't see Z-Cars C. I think Z might have remembered me more. But anyway, I had a little chat with him, and also I gave him. We were giving away the new expansion, so this was exclusive only to Gen Con. I don't know if I've shown you these yet. Have I shown you these yet? I might have shown you these. But this is what the people got. So if they bought the game at Gen Con and any convention, then you get a free extra guild, which is the Messengers Guild. And how cool is that? They get little ponies. Just wondering, getting a ukulele, which originally cost the equivalent of £73 for £37. That's a bargain. At a music festival, I think it is a good deal. If it's £37 for a ukulele, yeah, that's pretty good. I don't really know much about instruments, but if it's a good ukulele, I think that's pretty good. If you're thinking of starting the ukulele, it's probably a good entry level. But look at this, you get 2 little ponies. How cool is that? You also get the workers, you get 2 little workers. So you get 2 ponies and 2 workers. And so that's a 7th guild. So the game does actually play 7 people now with this extra guild. And this one actually works on the road network. So you're not actually looking for any of your own symbols, you are looking for the roads, basically. You want to build straight roads. So that was a nice little touch that people seem to enjoy because they like, everyone likes an exclusive, freebie exclusive. So that was that. That was cool. And also, it was just such a good, fun experience. Met lots of lovely people. The people on Outset Media were fantastic. Jodie, or Joni, as a lot of people called her. Joni, she was on sales. Joy, Dave's wife, she's fantastic. I met her before. Derek was there again, the sales guy. Ryan helped out doing the demoing, which was fantastic. Then we had John, who was also a demoing guy. And one of Dave's oldest friends, like when Dave first started up his company, he was sort of in helping out. So that was so nice, you know, that you've got a loyal friend that's helping you out even all these years later. And it must be amazing to see a company grow and grow and grow and grow after sort of 20 years, 30 years. Going to change the high G for Baton's G wire so I can play more classical medieval sounds. Oh, I see. Oh, that's a good idea. Nice. I don't know much about instruments, but I didn't know you could do that. Diddly dee, diddly dee. So yeah, so it was a lot of fun. Kedrick and I, there was other people obviously that volunteered and were working there. Oscar, thanks Oscar. If you're watching this, Oscar, I'll get you back. I'll get you back. You know what I mean. So there was Oscar. I've probably missed out loads of people, haven't I? Miley, I think Miley. Hello, Jam. Hello, how are you? Wandering Winkles of Wigglesborough. That sounds like a fantastic little book. That is a little kid's book. The Wandering Winkles of Wigglesborough. So yeah, so that was lovely to meet all these new people and to catch up with old people like Derek. Not that he's old, but you know what I mean. People that I've met before, and Joy and Dave, obviously. So that was cool. And then what else? Oh yeah, so we also... What I'm not very good at is networking, so I'm trying to get better at networking. And we met some other designers there, which was cool. We went... Kedrick was invited along because he knew the Brotherwise people, but I pitched to them as well, so they actually recognised me, which was really cool. I'm a nobody compared to Kedrick. Kedrick's had about 10 games published now. So I went with Kedrick, and we went in. There's a little after the event party that they had at 9 o'clock, and we went along, and that was cool. Had some drinks, chatted to a few people, and also chatted to Hayden from Brotherwise, who I believe is the owner and founder of Brotherwise. And we played a nice little set collecting game that they're launching. It was a prototype, and we played that called Shards. I think it was called Shards. It was all based on the Sanderson, what's his name? Brandon Sanderson, is that his name? The big fantasy author, because they've got the IP for that. They've licensed that out. So that was really cool to play that game and to chat to other designers and publishers. And I won. I won that game as well. So that was cool. Hello, Leering. Heavens, King Charles passing through. Good heavens. Oh, yeah. Who that, though? Looks out from the blanket and throws a snowball. Oh, fantastic. So, talking of snowballs, there's Snoopy. That's not a good segue, is it? But yeah, this was part of my luggage. I put this on my luggage. I wanted something distinctive so I could tell that the luggage was mine on the carousel. Who doesn't love Snoopy? Who doesn't love Snoopy? Oh, and also people were doing trinket trades. And so I got one of these, which was a Plague Dr. Duck. Me am grumpy, tired mess. Oh, big hugs to Martha. Quack, quack. Yeah, so that was really cool. So and once again, what I find with the board game community, everybody's really, really nice and welcoming and accommodating of everybody and wanting, everybody to have a good time. So I didn't meet anybody that I thought, nah, you're a bit off, mate. Everybody was nice and lovely, and it was just a lovely time. What else did we go to? Oh yeah, Longpack, who are the manufacturers of board games. They're printers and manufacturer. They do a lot of the Outset Media stuff. The publishers were there, so they were there. So the manufacturers were there, and they threw a big party because they print a lot of different board games from a lot of different companies. They threw a big party down. They hired out a bar and had food, and it was an open bar. So that was great. Hey, take advantage of that. And Paul, the wind-up merchant, he kept winding me up about things. And it was coming up for 8:30. and he said, "Oh yeah, or 9:30. I can't remember. No, I think it was 8:30. So yeah, the bar closes in a minute." And I went, "No, it doesn't." He went, "Yeah, it does. Yeah, you have to pay for your drinks afterwards." And I went, oh, "Well, all right." And so I got 2 pints. Got 2 pints, and of course it didn't. It was just winding me up. And they are actually serving pints, which was excellent. I didn't think America did pints. Martha Snowball seems to be more accurate than lizard men who throw that boulder at Captain Kirk in the old style. Yeah, I remember that. Haha, Gorn. That was it. Gorn was a bad shot. So that was really cool. So it was nice to be invited to these parties and just hang out and chat to people. In fact, that's where I chatted to Ryan quite a lot on that one. So that was really cool. And yeah, what else happened? It was just more demoing. But it was really nice meeting people. I think that's the main thing, isn't it? Meeting people, hanging out with people, playing games with people, talking to people that you that share a common interest. That's what I'm trying to say. And also, I didn't really get time to play. We didn't get time really to play any games. That's the only downside, is that it finished at 9 o'clock. UK games, I think it finishes at 5. It just finishes at 5, and then everybody goes out, and then everybody just plays their games. And so, if you've been demoing with one company, it was really cool after UK games to hang out with the people that you're demoing with and sharing a meal, and then you'd play a couple of games, together. We didn't have that, so that was a bit frustrating. However, I did play 2 games. 6 hours sleep is too little for me. 6 hours. Yeah, normally most people need 8, don't they? Lyrian's put 18 years of YouTube and I still watch the classic Trek from when starved for a chuckles once a month. Yeah. Well, some things are just worth watching again and again and again. Oh, Jonathan got 5 hours last night. Yeah, that would be nice for me, especially if you're looking after your kids. Yeah, I woke up. I woke up at sort of 4 in the morning and read for a couple of hours, and that's never any good. Not that we're being competitive. Let's play competitive deprived sleep. Okay, how many hours did you not get? Is it 8 to 10? 6 to... Yeah. So, I actually woke up and then had to read my book to get back to sleep. So, yeah, I guess it happens to a lot of us, doesn't it? But, yeah, hopefully you can have another snooze later on today. But I did play 2 games, one of which was Feed the Kraken, which is designed by Michael and 2 others. And it is fantastic. Michael Chaney, I think his name is. I think that's how you pronounce it. That is why I refer to Xanax as my purple little friends. 1 Xanax and a glass of water and presto 6, 5. Oh, okay, fair enough. No matter how late I go to bed, the dog will still wake me up at 8 a.m. before. Yes, and quite right too, Jonathan. You can't deprive Conker of his little walk. Morning, Green King. Yeah, so Feed the Kraken. If you've not played Feed the Kraken, I found it immensely enjoyable. It does play. It's quite an odd player count, but it's 4 to 11, I think. So it's a social deduction game because you all sign up as pirates or sailors, I should say, sailors, and it's all set in the pirate era. So what's that? 18th century, something like that, 1760s, and that you've come across this ship. A port. All the crew are sort of vanished, and so you're going to repopulate it and just take it over. And so you all board the ship, and then you are given a token in a bag, or you pick. These tokens go in bags, and then you pick a bag, and then depending on what token you've got, depending on what one of the 3 factions you are. One's a normal sailor, one's a pirate, and one colour is the occult leader. So there's only one occult leader at the beginning of the game, and during the game you get an opportunity to recruit other cult people into your cult. And so it's really fun and then there's a captain, gets designated a captain. I think there's a way to determine that, like you get given out cards, and I was the captain. So I was the captain, and then the captain job, you need to navigate. If you're the sailor, if you're on the sort of good side, the sailors, you're trying to navigate over to an island over that side. If you're the occult leader, you're trying to navigate the boat towards the Kraken, because you want to sacrifice yourself and everybody on the boat to the Kraken. And if you're the pirates, you want to send it off a little bit to Pirate Island. I think that's what it is. So you're all trying to steer the ship in different ways, and it's very, very clever. So I was the captain, and of course I don't know who's my actual loyal sailors and who's my who's the pirates and who's the cult leader. I just have to trust people. So I then have to give out the navigator, and I have to appoint my lieutenant, or my second in command, and my navigator. And it's really clever because there's direction cards, and you shuffle them all up, and the what is it? The navigator and the navigator and the second in command take 2 each, and they discard one and they put one in a box. So there's 2 of them in the box, and they get shuffled over. And then I, as the captain, get to look at the choices, the 2 remaining choices of where to sail the ship. And of course, depending on who's who, so the navigator might be the occult leader, or it might be a pirate, or it might be just a normal sailor, and also the same for the second in command, depends on what choice I'm going to get given. And then I have to make the ultimate choice of going, all right, we're going to do this. And then... but at any point, people can vote you out of being the captain. If there's not at any point. There's a round where everyone votes, and you could be overthrown. So it's really good fun. And of course, what happens throughout the course of the game is, I don't know if you can become a pirate during the game if you've not been a pirate, but you can certainly be recruited by the cult member. And it's just really good fun. So if you've got a large player group that likes social interaction game and maybe a bit of role play, and you know me, I like to be dramatic, so I was, very much, okay, men, this is what we're going to do. We're going to be sailing north, and then we're going to be sailing west, hopefully. No, not west, east. And that's why they voted me out. I didn't know which way I was going. My battery was arrested. I got charged. Oh, I haven't got the bell. Ding. God damn it, time to plug the portable battery into the phone. Yeah. Moby Dick was a drunken brawl with the Kraken overboard, starboard yonder. Yeah, exactly. Ken's bottom was arrested and eventually let off. Ooh, that's not the noise I wanted. I'm still waiting for your game book. Yes, Martha, I was just going to get onto that actually. News on the game book. Thank you for bringing that up. That was the next thing I was going to talk about. I just want to talk about Feed the Kraken. So that was fantastic. That was really, really good fun. And I do have a copy. Michael actually signed it for me, which was very kind of him. So that was great. I finally got to play it because I had wanted to play it. Then we have Spies and Lies. This is by Outset. Originally by Jumbo, I think, but Outset Media are carrying this game. I managed to play this thanks to Derek, who is one of the sales team at Outset Media. Spies and Lies, a Stratego story. Une History de Stratego. Okay, that's just the French version of what I just said. So if everyone's played Stratego, which apparently is a big game, but I never played Stratego, but apparently it was a big game in the 70s and 80s, but I never played it. This is a 2-player version of it, really. Really fun, really enjoyed it. Very simple to learn. Derek's a really good teacher, by the way. Very good demoing it. And that was nice just to do that at the end. Well, actually, that was in the morning of the last day. The last thing I did before we rushed off, because on the last day, on the Sunday, we literally had to go. As soon as 4 o'clock came, or 3 o'clock came, I can't remember, 4 o'clock, we just left. We'd got all our luggage, put them in the stand, and then we left and went straight to the airport. So the very last thing I did was actually play Feed the Kraken. So there we go. So we played Feed the Kraken and Spies and Lies. So I do recommend that. And Sally, watch out because we will be playing this shortly. Martini, shaken and not stirred. I'm still waiting for your game book. Well, thank you very much, because that leads me nicely into, yes, the game book. Now that I'm back from Gen Con, I'm back from my holiday, visiting my brother, and also my holiday with the lovely Sally. We went to Baconsthorpe, by the way, which is in Norfolk. Norfolk. Yes, my focus is now 100% back on Devilish Dilemmas to Kill a Thief. And it's very clear what I have to do next, which is brilliant. I like it when you when you're doing a project, it's really nice just to know you can have a tick list. Yeah, I need to do that, 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 I need to do that. So I've got it all covered. The first thing, or one of the things I'm going to do is I do need to do all the typos. Sally has proofread most of the book. It's about, you've proofread half the book now, I think. You've got a couple more, 200 entries to go. Claire, who's a professional proofreader, she proofread all of the book, so I can go through that. So I'm going to start doing that. That is the next stage. And then by the time I finish that, I'll then start Sally's proofreading just to see if there's anything else, or there was any disagreements that Claire and Sally had. So that'd be interesting. So I've never had two people proofread my work before. So that's... that is, so that would be cool. So by the time I finish doing all the corrections from Claire's, hopefully Sally might have finished doing that. She might not have done. However, if she hasn't, that's still okay, because I have still got to print all of the illustrations. So all the illustrations are now done. This is my blacksmith guy. Look at that. Look at the guns on him. And... this is, yeah, so I can't remember what I've showed you and what I haven't shown you. So anyway, I have done all of the illustrations, and they have their lino cuts, as you probably know. Look, there we go, little sneak preview. That's 10 lino cuts, and I've done double-sided, as you can see. I've done double-sided. So those need to be inked up, and I have facilities. I have access to facilities to a printing press, so I'm going to ink them all up, print them all out, scan them in, and then typeset them into the book. So that's that. That is the other thing I have to do. And then, obviously, I have to go through people's play testing. So I know Julian has been play testing it. There was... did you play test it, Martha? I can't remember now. It was a while back. Snow Queen play tested it, which was fantastic. So I'm going to be going through her stuff. I'm going to go through Jam. I think Jam has. I can't remember who's play tested and who hasn't, but I've got a list. So I'm going to be going through all the play testing to see if anything's broken. I don't think anything is fundamentally. It'll probably be more things like, well, that skill test was too hard. That skill test, wasn't hard enough. It'll be things like that, I'm hoping. Oh, yes. That's right. Sally's still waiting for the next batch. I do have it in that box over there. So next time I see you, I will drop it off to you. Julian, yes. Julian. As in, not Julian the bottle dip, Julian, but Julian of Babel_17 Twitch channel. I did not. Yeah, I didn't want to spoil it. That's right. I didn't think you had. I couldn't remember. Do you have a list over who backed the book? Just since I spent a bit of money. Yes, no, Martha, seriously. I appreciate it. It is, I have a list of all the backers, who backed what category and what rewards you're going to get. So, seriously, it's just, I will apologise. I am sorry it's taking longer than I thought it would. I've never done one of these before. And what I didn't realise is obviously Guildlands, this game, took up a lot of my time from January or whenever it was. It was like a 2-month period where it was just really intense that I had to work on Guildlands again. So I didn't foresee that. But, these aren't excuses. They're just explanations of why it's been delayed. And so I do apologise for that. It's taken longer than I anticipated. However, over the next 3-4 weeks or however long it takes, this is now my priority. This is my priority. So yeah, so Julian is going to be, he's proofreading it at the moment. He should be hopefully finished by now. Lee Rin has put on Monday, going to see 80 paintings on loan from London from the Willem Turner collection. That is fantastic. That is amazing. I've seen those in there, and they are amazing. They're beautiful. They're very, I don't know, I'm not very good at describing art. They're very atmospheric and moving, and you can kind of see the evolution, you know, the period that he was painting in. And he was a bit of a forerunner, really, wasn't he, into early Impressionism. He isn't really considered Impressionism, but he kind of was getting there because he likes light, sort of, you know, painting light, if you like. So, yes, so this is now full steam ahead. Unfortunately, when I got back from Gen Con, my hot water wasn't working. So right after this live stream, I am popping out to buy a socket, because I think that's the problem, to get my hot water going. And I do need to buy some more milk, because the tea was disgusting, because my milk's gone off. But then after that, I will be spending the majority of my waking hours on To Kill a Thief, because believe you me, Martha, I want to get this done as well. I don't want to keep people waiting. So hopefully you've accepted my apology for the delay, but it's still on. It's still game on. And that's part of the exciting part as well. When you finally put the game book together, you know, you put a book together and then you send it off to the printer, you get the proof copy back, and then you order the whole copy. So there's that still to go as well. Cassie is watching. Hello, Cassie. Greetings. And a magical welcome. Everything's a bit blurry. Is that your assessment of Turner's work? Everything's just a bit blurry. That's all. You don't need to write anything more about that. Yes, so that was really fun. And also, as I say, it's been a bit of a whirl with the last 3 weeks, correct? That's a good description, though. Everything is a little bit blurry. Oh, also, when I was at Gen Con, I did go sans phone. I didn't take my phone with me, so I did have to buy an old-fashioned alarm clock. And also a camera. Got a camera. And it's interesting. The thing that I miss most about my phone, because I also took my laptop, so I could still communicate sort of with people on Facebook, but was the ease of the photographs. Taking a photograph with your phone is very quick. With that, you have to kind of take it out of your pocket, take the lens cap off, you know, and then it's just that quick. And selfies are difficult with those sort of things. So the phone is very. So for me, it was photos that I missed the most, and just that ease of taking a photo and putting it up onto Facebook or putting it up onto social media. Leerin's per also in town are Impressionism paintings on loan from New York. Oh, there you go, which makes sense then, because Turner was sort of the early forerunner of that. Metropolitan Museum of Art from Robert Liam collection. They'll have to wait until 2 Mondays later. Well, that sounds fantastic. It's always good to mix with some high culture. Not that this is low culture, though. And the other things, yes. So we went off to Sally and I went to visit my brother in York and his fiancée. And they hadn't seen Guildlands, so we had a nice time playing Guildlands, which was great. In fact, we had 2 games. Yeah, it was nice to catch up with all the news. Hadn't seen him for a while. Plus, Sally and I went off to Baconsthorpe in Norfolk, North Norfolk, where, oh my God, second-hand books galore. There was loads of second-hand bookshops. It was fantastic. So, you know, for not very many pounds, I did buy some books. And as you know, some of you might know, I am reading the Railway Detective series by Edward Marston, which are really solid, just murder mysteries. I've started reading The Silver Locomotive, which was fantastic. I also found Blood on the Line, which I've not read. I'm getting to the stage now where I don't know what ones I've got and what ones I haven't got. But hey, that's fine. They're only about £1.50 each. Sally found Death on the Nile for me. There was a fantastic tea shop, actually, where we found this one. And these ones I'm going to show you now. Man from U.N.C.L.E. Sally got that for her mum. Although I think is it missing any chapters at the end? Who knows? I I was advised to pick a day with a tour guide, otherwise I won't understand the paintings. Gosh, they must be blurry. That is very true. The Man from U.N.C.L.E., classic 60s, 70s, early 70s. And then we have The Supernatural. Look at this beautiful book. How old is this? It's a book on poetry, but it's supernatural. Look at this, Witches and Wizards. What is going on with this book? It's sort of poetry. Witch or Queen. Oh, this is a little play. 3 Poor Witches. But look, it's poetry about witches, which is amazing. And it gets a bit dark as well. What is superstition? So it sort of asks questions. Old Christmas, Midnight, Dickie. Don't know what Dickie is. And then I happen to look at that. The original Gypsy Lee. The original Gypsy Lee. I thought that was just a myth, but she must be a real person. Wow. I didn't know Gypsy Lee was a real person. But also, hang on, I'm trying to find the image. I can't find it now. Wow, I found an image in the bookshop that I was a little bit shocked at. I don't know if I'm allowed to show it because of Twitch regulations. Oh yeah, there it is. Her kind. What is this sort of satanic ritual? What's going on here? Bit of breasts. Bit of breasts. So I thought this would be like a nice sort of cozy myths and legends type poetry book, but it's a little bit darker than that. So that's worth exploring as well. Plus also Bewilder Bats. Norfolk has Bewilder Woods, which is a series of books. This is another one in the series, Bewilder Bats, by Tom Blofeld, illustrated by Steve Pearce. So these are really cool. And look at the illustrations, they're amazing. I love this sort of illustrations. All the characters. Who's the main character? Is it Swampy? I think Swampy. We've got Marsha, Swampy, Moss, Leafette. Nice. Then we have Sticklnose, Willow, Pippi, and Oakham. They're really cool. So these are beautiful books. They're really beautifully illustrated. So I do recommend these books. These are primarily for kids, but you know, if you like this sort of stuff, you'll like this. And they made a big park based off of these books called Bewilderwood Park, I think, or Adventure Park. And they've got zip wires, and you can build forts, and it's all outdoors, all in the open. But they've put little, you know, things up and around the tree, so it looks like it's populated by these characters. It's really cool. Took my son there for one of his birthdays, and some of his friends. Also, You Must Be a Psychic. I found this book. So obviously some of you know that I do psychic mediumship readings, so it's nice to find books that are potentially going to help me, or even help me explain it to other people. So I just felt drawn to buying that book. And there was Norwich, City of Centuries. And I've never seen a book that actually goes through each street. It goes through each street and just says what happened in that street, or why that street is important. Oxford Place, Madeline Street, Madeline Gates, Lower Goat Lane. Now, I do know some people in Norwich, and I thought maybe I could give them to them. But as a writing, you know, tool, Quakers Lane, Rampant Horse Street. These are great names. You know, I'm always looking for great names. Oh, what's this fallen out? And also, when you buy second-hand stuff, second-hand books, it's always cool because you don't know what people have tucked into them. What's this? Prospective Infant Grows in Parliament. What's this? This is July the 5th, 2003. I don't know what the hell. The NEC and Other Animals. So who knows why someone's kept that and put that in there. Hanstead's House of Commons official report. So there's some really nice old pictures, you know, of Norwich. But from a writer's point of view, it's great because you can get inspiration. because there'll be little stories attached to each street. Yeah, look, Cavert Street was formerly called Snailgate. Snailgate is fantastic, but gained its present name from an 18th century builder who lived there. There are several buildings that have survived: Pope's Buildings, Boulderstone Court, and King's Head Lane, but they are all dealt with under their own names. So there's just lots of little nuggets there. So just having that Snailgate, what brilliant name for a part of your city if you're creating fantasy. Interesting bookmark. Yeah, interesting bookmark. I know, exactly. That's the other little perk. You find little things. However, the peak finds of these books are Choose Your Own Adventure, Found and Rescued in the Wild, The Horror of High Ridge by Julius Goodman, illustrated by Paul Granger. So there we go. So if we do run out of books to cover, you know, say we finish, because we do have the Portal of Chaos Part 6 to go, say we finish that in the next one quite early, we could sneak in a Choose Your Own Adventure. So that's always good standby. What is the horrible secret of High Ridge? You and your friends are spending the summer in your great uncle's cabin in the mountain town of High Ridge. An old legend says that ghosts lurk everywhere and murder unsuspecting victims. You don't believe it until an arrow bursts through the window, whizzes past your head, thuds into the wall, then disappears. Look at that. What happens next in the story? It all depends on you. So there we go. So that's cool. And then look at this one, an original fighting fantasy, Masks of Mayhem. I don't think I've ever seen this one, but a thrilling adventure in which you are the hero. Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone present. So it's number 23, according to this one. The safety of Earth is in your hands. Oh, look at this. You get a colour map on this one. I've not even flicked this through. Look at the time, Ken. Yes, it is. I'm whittling on. Robin Waterfield, illustrated by Russ Nicholson. Oh, wow. He got Russ Nicholson. Some fantastic books. So, yes, there we go. It looks like it was a library edition. Is it a library edition? No, it's a school edition. Which school was it? Reefram High School? Oh, I can't see it. That's a shame. But there we go. Yes, look at the time. Look at the time. So there we are. That is Gen Con special and my little mini adventures. We went to see lots of different things in Baconsthorpe. We went to see seals on a boat, which was cool. And we went to Cromer. As I say, we went to this lovely tea shop that was a bookshop as well, and a junk shop as well. So it was fantastic going around them. Beautiful food, so highly recommend that. I have no idea where it was. A Toast to Russ. Yeah, exactly, A Toast to Russ. Typing the name of this book and come up with actual City of Centuries Day tour for Norwich adds to bucket list. Yeah. Norwich is a nice city. It's a nice little city. You've got a cathedral, and there's 2 or 3 board game. I think there's at least 2 board game cafes and maybe 3 board game shops. So it's obviously well worth a visit. So there we are. So thank you so much for watching. Yes, I've been prattling on now for an hour and a quarter. I knew this might be a little bit of a long one because I did want to talk about Gen Con, and it's such a momentous occasion for me. You know, Kedrick and I took about 6 years to develop this. So this is kind of the fruits of our labour after 6 years. And also, Outset Media very kindly invited Kedrick and myself to Spiel Essen, which is in October, which is in Germany, and it's Europe's or maybe the world's biggest fair, games expo. So I'll be going to that. Unfortunately, Kedrick can't make it, but I'll be going to that to demo the game as well. So hopefully, again, we'll meet some lovely people, and we will, sell lots of copies of the game and get some good feedback. So thank you so much. If you do want to buy your own copy, you should be able to buy this on Amazon UK You might also want to check out your local game shop. If they haven't got it, you might say to them, can you get hold of it for me? Because obviously the more that shops think it's in demand, the more they'll try and stock it. So it's by Outset Media. So thank you very much. I do appreciate you watching. Thank you, Ryan, for following the channel, and welcome to the show, so to speak. Welcome to the community, to the fellowship. And also Meat Freak, thank you as well for following. And if you've been watching but you didn't comment, that's absolutely fine, more than welcome. If anybody did the same but they didn't follow, it all helps with the algorithm, so that'll be fantastic. Good night, Lee Rin. So thank you, Redwater. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Lee Rin. Thank you, Jam. Thank you, Martha. Thank you. Is there anybody else? Have I missed anyone else out? I don't think I have. Thank you, Lee Rin. I think I've mentioned everybody that commented. If you didn't comment, thank you for watching if you're watching. And if you're watching this on playback, thank you as well. All of these videos go out over to the Edra Tales YouTube channel. I shall leave you alone. See, look, this is it. What happens if I don't do a show for 3 weeks? I just prattle on and on and on. Good old waffling, eh, Grocklesnook? So thank you, and I will post up about Wednesday, because I've got a feeling I can't make Wednesday, which is rather unfortunate. So we can either postpone it or we can maybe do it on a different night. I don't know. Yeah, catch Superman 2025. If I can, I shall do so. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ryan. Have a good weekend yourself. Thank you to everybody. And remember, may your thieving never get caught. I've forgotten the tagline. May your thieving never be caught. Take care, everybody. Bye.